Let's catch you up with qualifying. Battery in the mic died here in the booth at Hickory Motor Speedway. So far, Tom Buzzy on top, 14.581. 14.581 for Tom Buzzy in the 5. Daniel Yates second. And the car that just took qualifying, 14.849 for Jimmy Wallace. Next up on the racetrack, driver the number 8 NY. Yes, that does stand for New York, part of the Long Island gang from West Hampton, New York. The West Wind Tree Farm. Number 8 NY for Wes Gilbert. That's a Spafco machine. Yes, bringing back the old Spafco from the New England area. Coming down here to run with the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. And Gilbert's first lap on the racetrack, 15.084. 15.084. He also ran with us at South Boston Speedway just a couple of weeks ago. Gilbert, fourth quick out of 4 cars so far. Next car up on the racetrack. A winner at South Boston Speedway just 2 weeks ago. Won the Flying VA Classic for his 9th win in Smart Modified Tour competition out of Lexington, North Carolina. In the LNR transmission, Steve's Tires and Automotive, Unique Coatings, Shady Grady Racing Troyer. It's the number 15 of Brian Lofton. Lofton hoping for a good run here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Has never been to victory lane here at this racetrack in 6 tries. His best finish, a 7th place run. But right now, Lofton goes to the top of the board. First lap on qualifying, 14.480 seconds for the 15. Coming down to take the checker. Can he do better? Lofton, top time so far, and it will be his first lap of 14.480 seconds, a 1/10 of a second better than Tommy Buzzy in the number 5. Now on the racetrack, one of the fan favorites out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina. They call him the Ace and the Citrus Safe Cleaners. Backyard leisure pools and spas. PSR machine for Burt Myers. Burt Myers, second last year in the Hickory 100. Coming around to take the white flag. First lap now complete for Burt Myers. Second quick, 14.517. 14.517 for Burt Myers out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina. See what the 2-time Smart Tour champion can do. Little bobble right there, comes underneath the checker. First lap will be the official lap for Burt Myers. Second quick, 14.517. Next car on the racetrack. You see that car on the backstretch. Driver of the number 55 from Wesley Chapel, Florida. He has 1 win here in SMRS modified competition. They call him the Flying Floridian, Jeremy Gerstner. Gerstner had a heck of a run at South Boston Speedway, led 30 laps in that race. Admitted today he pitted just a little bit too late, could not work his way back through the field. But right now the green flag is out and that 55 is on the clock. Gerstner with 2 machines here, also providing a car for Jason Poole, the Giant, who will start tonight's race. Jeremy Gerstner, second quick, so close to Brian Lofton, 14.490 to a 14.480. Gerstner on the mat, sideways off the corner, comes down to take the checkered flag, and Gerstner will remain second. That slide coming off of turn number 4 hurt him just a little bit, 14.490 seconds. Good run for Jeremy Gerstner. Now on the racetrack, making only his second attempt in Tour-type modified competition. Last year's Carolina Crate Modified Series champion. Out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in the Jerry Hunt Supercenters, number 12, it's Cody Norman. That's a Troyer race car with a spec engine. His dad, Mike Norman, has wheeled these modified machines for a long, long time. White flag in the air for Cody. 6 quick so far out of 8 cars on his first lap. 14.846 seconds. 14.846. Nice and smooth, good-looking machine with that number 12. Checkered flag is out. A little bit better on his second lap. Will remain 6, 14.726. Here's a guy that has seen just about everything in modified racing. Was a crew chief up in the New England area for Charlie and Carl Pastriak for a long, long time before moving south to go work for NASCAR Cup teams. Currently with Trackhouse Racing is the driver of the number 77 out of Mooresville, North Carolina. That is Gary Putnam in the Curb Record Stock Car Steel and Aluminum SRI Performance Sunoco Race Fuels Troyer car. Of course it's a Troyer. He's been working on those cars at Tony's Race Engines underneath the hood. First lap on the racetrack for Gary Putnam, 14.692 seconds. A couple of ninth place runs here last year, 2 years ago actually, ninth place run for Putnam at this racetrack. Putnam will remain 6 quick overall, 14.692 seconds, 14.692 for Gary Putnam. Here's a guy that everybody here at Hickory Motor Speedway knows so well. Making his first start in Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic competition. Heck, forget about that. First time in a modified, the number 2. That Piggly Wiggly machine for Jake Crum. Jake Crum has won so many races around the Southeast, from the Allison Legacy cars to late model stock cars, a former URA champion. That series was so popular in this area for a really long time. Jake Crum out of Statesville, North Carolina. Paul French Troyer machine. White flag in the air for Jake Crum. He was pretty quick in that first session. 7th quick so far in qualifying. 14.7. 14.7 for Jake Crum. Jake Crum, the 2015 Bobby Isaac Memorial winner here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Takes the checkered flag. And Jake Crum does just a little bit better, but remains 6 quick. 14.663 for Jake Crum. What were you doing at 15 years old? That's a good question. I know I was working on some race cars and sitting up in the grandstands because you weren't even allowed in the pits back in the day. It shows you how old I am. Back in Long Island, Riverhead Raceway, Islip Speedway. But this driver is just 15 years old. He's a rookie on the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matics. Driving the L&R transmission, Steve's Tires and Automotive, unique coating, Shady Grady Racing Troyer for Carson Lofton. LeBlue, bottled water also on the side of that race car. First lap complete. And how about this? Carson Lofton, first lap, he beats dear old dad. Carson Lofton, 14.471 seconds. Checkered flag in the air and a little bit better on his second lap. 15 years old, the driver of the 23, Carson Lofton, on the provisional pole in the middle of qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. How about that run? The kid is just flat out good. And so is our next competitor, who is a 3-time winner in the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Driver of the number 24 AmeriFast Supply, Buddy Ellis machine out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's John Boy Jonathan Brown. Earlier this week, didn't even know if this car would be here. Had some trouble underneath the hood 2 weeks ago at South Boston Speedway, but right now he sits 9th in the point standings, hoping for another win. His best outing here at Hickory Motor Speedway. A 2nd place run actually back in 2013 in some crate modified action, but 7th place last year in this race. John Boy, always quick in qualifying, and he proves it again. Second quick so far for Jonathan Brown in the 24, 14.468 seconds. Wow, tight. 3/100ths of a second, the difference so far. Checkered flag out for Jonathan Brown, and that first lap still quickest for JB in that number 24. It's Carson Lofton, Jonathan Brown, and Brian Lofton, your top three so far. This guy was pretty darn good in practice here today. So good, he swept both the first practice and the final practice out of Miami Springs, Florida. Joey Coulter, former NASCAR Truck Series winner, coming and competing full-time this year in the Smart Modified Tour. And that Coulter Motorsports A-Shock Torch Eyewear SRI Performance Modified, that Fury car, white flag in the air. Joey Coulter second quick. Second quick for the 0-2, 14.461 seconds. See if he can go for the clean sweep through practice and qualifying. Oh, he's on the mat off of turn number 4, but Coulter cannot get it done. Carson Lofton remains number 1. Joey Coulter second quick. First time he's been second quick here today after a pair of firsts during practice sessions for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Next up, this driver won basically this race, 1 lap shorter than what we have here right now. Different sponsor, the Chevrolet 99 2 years ago. Brandon Ward out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, went to victory lane. He's the driver of the KevinSaysYes.com number 2. New Day Motorsports, Randy Renfro Race Cars, Coulter Motorsports LFR. Third place run 1 year ago for Brandon Ward in the Hickory 100. He's run Pro Cup, Dash Series, late model stock cars, super late models, and now modifieds here at Hickory. A wealth of knowledge of this racetrack. Brandon Ward, 7th quick, 14.523. Funny thing is, they're getting really tight here at the top. That's a 10th off the pole. 14.523 on the first lap. Checkered flag in the air for Brandon Ward. And Brandon Ward will remain 7th quick overall, 14.523. Ironically, first in points, Burt Myers, currently 6th. Second in points, Brandon Ward, 7th quick during qualifying. This guy had his best career run in Southern Modified competition 2 weeks ago at South Boston Speedway. A 7th place run in the Flying VA Classic. For the driver out of High Point, North Carolina, a Better View Glass and Mirror PSR number 11 from Michael Rich. Michael Rich also with a bunch of experience here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Former Pro Cup South champion. Now turning the wheel in the Mighty Modifieds in the South. And Michael Rich to the top of the board. Michael Rich, 14.429 seconds. Very fast is that red number 11. Michael Rich, impressive run, said that car just did not want to turn on entry and practice. Well, whatever they did, they got it right. Michael Rich on the provisional pole here at Hickory Motor Speedway. But look at who's next. They call him the Rocket. Out of Tobaccoville, North Carolina, and the Jerry Hunt Supercenter, Amsoil Hayes Jewelers, Mike Smith, the Andretti Terry Hall Team 25 car. That's a PSR machine for Tim Brown in the 25. 12-time Bowman Gray Stadium modified champion. Looking for the win tonight here at Hickory Motor Speedway. And Tim Brown, 6th quick on the first lap. 6th quick for the driver of the 25, Tim Brown. He's got a pair of wins in SMRS competition. Actually, SMRS in 18 and Coma Unwind in 2014. Tim Brown remains 6th quick, 14.485, 6th quick for the Rocket. Now on the racetrack, driver of the 07. The real deal, Riley Neal, going to be running sportsman cars over at Bowman Gray Stadium starting next week. One of those up-and-coming kids, a bunch of wins in limiteds and sportsman cars in this area. Riley's out of Lexington, North Carolina, in the Lindley Landscaping Walkertown Mill LFR. He has struggled just a little bit, but thinks he's got a fast race car here today. Riley Neal, 15.157, 15.157 for Riley Neal, tested at Bowman Gray Stadium 2 nights ago, getting ready for that season, which starts next week. 15.007, just a little bit better for Riley Neal in the 07, currently 16th quick. Coming around to take the green flag, car number 22 out of Advance, North Carolina. It's the Carolina Drilling Machine, that Fury race car with an ECR engine underneath the hood for Jason Tutterow. Jason Tutterow and his company, Carolina Drilling, proud supporters of the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. 14th here last year for Jason Tutterow on his first lap, 14.995. 14.995 for Jason Tutterow. Finished 26th at South Boston Speedway. Tutterow a little bit better on his second lap, 14.985. 14.985 for Jason Tutterow. Here comes a car we expected just about 2 cars ago, making a return to the Southern Modified Wars. Nice to see this guy. He's a longtime competitor, winner in SMRS competition, so strong around this part of the country, and this is his first race of the year for the driver of the 07 with those orange numbers on the side of his race car for the Mayberry Bullet. John Smith out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. Racing College of Virginia, we'll talk about that. Gordon Hooker, masonry contractor, the Don and D Stone Motorsports Machine. And John Smith looking for a good qualifying effort out of him. Right now, 12th quick, 14.653. Second lap now complete for John Smith. A little bit better, 11th quick, 14.641. Had some overheating issues on that car earlier today during practice. Here comes Johnny K, brand new car that he debuted at South Boston Speedway 2 weeks ago. And the A-Best forklift and Viper graphics number 48 machine. That is a PSR car. Johnny Keeveman, we call him Johnny K, said only bolt-on stuff was broken and bent after getting into an accident at South Boston Speedway. Johnny K, he could be a threat for a top 10, maybe even a top 5 finish here today. Nice and smooth out of turn number 4 for Johnny K. Johnny K, 16th quick, 14.760. See if he can improve a little bit. And he does. Johnny K, 11th quick, 14.605. 14.605 for Johnny K. Top 6, by the way, today will be in the redraw here for the Hickory 100. He's one of the baddest modified drivers in the land. Out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina, a 38-time winner in modified competition at Bowman Gray Stadium, driving the Carolina Drilling, Greg Butcher Trucking, QRC HVAC and Refrigeration PSR number 4 for Jason Myers. Tenth quick so far for Jason Myers, 14.531. 14.531. Ninth place run for Jason Myers here 2 years ago. And Myers says, I'm one and done. Don't need any more. So Jason Myers, 10th quick. Now on the racetrack. Coming to the Modified Wars to have some fun. Out of South Bend, Indiana, in the Pace-O-Matic Aggressive Hydraulics S&S Racing. That's Sadler and Stanley Racing. PSR machine with a Tony's Race engine underneath the hood for the former Daytona 500 winner, Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman started his career in open wheel racing, really good on the pavement in the USAC Wars, has now found open wheel racing in the South and modified competition. And Ryan Newman, the Rocket, #1 on the board, 14.427. Newman in the 39, fastest so far. Ryan Newman, quickest car during Pace-O-Matic qualifying so far. 14.427 seconds on his first lap on the racetrack. Several cars still to come, but flying Ryan Newman looking pretty good so far. The next kid has always been fast in qualifying. I don't care if it was a pro late model, a pro truck, a super late model, or now modifieds. Out of Dawsonville, Georgia, 24-year-old Spencer Davis in the 29. Only 3 starts for Spencer Davis in smart modified competition. And he has led laps in this 29 in each of his first 3 starts, making his first start of the season, and he's making it pay. Quickest so far in qualifying, Spencer Davis out of Dawsonville, Georgia, 14.363 seconds for driver of 29. Quickest first lap is quickest. That's all he needs. Spencer Davis on top of the board so far during qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Spencer Davis, can he stay there? Now on the racetrack, a veteran, if you will, in a very famous race car in the Southeast. He's the driver of the 07 VA. Dennis Holdren out of Roanoke, Virginia, in the parts company Hadabass and Rowe Collision. Mark Dowdy owned machine. That's a Fury race car with Bob Bruneau supplying the power. 1 lap to go for Dennis Holdren here in the 07. He was on the outside of the front row to start the Flying VA Classic at South Boston Speedway, but he's going to have to pick it up. 19th quick on his first lap. Does he do better? He does. 14th quick. 14.603, 14th quick for Dennis Holdren. By the way, you could follow him. Found him this week on Instagram. So if you want to tag Dennis Holdren, if you like that car, made famous by Satch Worley, Paul Radford, Mark Dowdy, now the owner of the 07, bringing 2 cars actually here with John Smith as well. This guy, too, always quick in qualifying. They call him Farmer Ted. He'll tell you why, maybe in an off-the-record conversation. Out of Concord, North Carolina, the 3rd all-time winningest driver at Concord Speedway, 63 wins to his credit. In the ZMAX, Boston Reed and Company Real Estate, Chico's Bail Bonds Racing Electronics Troyer, owned by Kevin Hughes. Out of Concord, North Carolina, it's Bobby Meismer Jr. Meismer has had some success here, some top 5 runs in tour-type modified competition at Hickory. 7th quick first lap, 14.472, 14.472, just about a 1/10 of a second off of the pole. Meismer does just a little bit better on his second lap, 14.461. Nice and consistent for Bobby Meismer, 6 overall. Should be 2 more cars in qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. And the car on the backstretch coming around to take his dead lap. The Tommy Baldwin Racing 7NY has been one of the quickest cars in the first 3 races of the year. And a 2-time Pace-O-Matic Pole Award winner already in 2023 in the Mohawk Northeast. Willwood Brakes Racing Electronics machine out of Shelbyville, Kentucky. It's Caleb Heddy in the PSR Modified. Heddy, 2nd in the season opener. Should have had a top 5 at Caraway. Had some trouble in the middle part of that race. And again at South Boston. Should have had a top 5. Had to avoid disaster when Matt Hirschman slowed and went down pit road to avoid hitting the end of pit road in those water barrels. But Caleb Heddy, second quick so far. Second quick for Caleb Heddy in the 7NY. 14.413. Wow, that's close between Spencer Davis and Caleb Heddy. Checkered flag for Caleb Heddy. Little bit better on his second lap, but man, so close, but doesn't get it done. Spencer Davis remains on top. Caleb Heddy second. Wow, 3/100ths of a second difference between first and second so far in qualifying. Final car scheduled to qualify here, and it's a pretty good one. Second quick in the final practice out of Corpus Christi, Texas, in the Cookout Coca-Cola. Units moving and portable storage. Pace-O-Matic PSR machine for S&S Racing, Sadler and Stanley Racing, Bobby Labonte in the number 18. Neil Cantor, crew chief on this machine. Bobby Labonte, couple of top 5 runs in 2 smart modified races at Hickory Motor Speedway. Checkered flag is out for Bobby Labonte. 15th quick overall, 14.555 on his second lap. 14.555. One car that missed his slot earlier, driver of the 01 car. He's made starts in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He's made starts in the NASCAR Truck Series in the last option bed. Troyer with a home-built engine underneath the hood out of Coram, New York. Part of the Long Island gang for Brian Weber in the 01. A little burp of the throttle for Weber off of turn number 4, doing double duty, also running in the 602 modifieds today. Weber, 15.645 first lap. 15.640, Ernie Ruggiero turning the wrenches on that 01 machine. Jason Poole, the 29th car, not scheduled to take time here, planning on starting this event here tonight for the Hickory 100. There you have it, folks. Spencer Davis tops in qualifying here. He's the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award winner. Time of 14.363 seconds for the driver out of Dawsonville, Georgia. The Kentucky kid, Caleb Heddy in the 7NY, second, 14.393. Flying Ryan Newman, third overall, 14.427 for the driver of 39. Michael Rich, former Pro Cup South champion, in the number 11, fourth quick, 14.429. Carson Lofton, fifth quick, 15 years old, and the driver of the number 23, 14.431. Not done. 602 modifieds now on the racetrack.
Now we hand it over to my broadcast partner up in the booth, Bob Dildner.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Cal. We're getting ready for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic feature event. Cars will be pulling up on the front stretches momentarily. Make sure you get to the concession stand. Get your chicken tenders, fries, bologna burger, who knows what else, and enjoy all the fare. Bobby Labonte t-shirts for sale in the midway, as well as the 50-50. The car is heading to the front stretch now. We'll take just a quick little break, get your refreshment, get set for the Hickory 100, presented by Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet.
Sorry.
The Smart Modified Tour would like to say thank you to a bunch of its sponsors, including series sponsor Pace-O-Matic. Since 2000, Pace-O-Matic has assembled an incredibly talented team from top to bottom, built on the grounds of integrity, innovation, and compliance, all of which aligns perfectly with the world of motorsports. As an entertainment company that develops gaming software that players love to play, Pace-O-Matic is all about giving back to local communities, small businesses, and now motorsports. To learn more about their history, business, charitable works, and products, check them out on all their social media outlets or visit them online at paceomatic.com. That's Pace-O-Matic, proud supporter of grassroots initiatives and proud presenting sponsor of the Smart Modified Tour. And ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready for 100 laps the distance for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. I want to say thank you to the Short Track Life CitraSafe Grill Cleaners drone tonight live on Flow Racing. When you get home with that Flow subscription, you can watch the replay of the race if you're in the grandstands here tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway. As I mentioned, 100 laps the distance. The end of stage 1 will come at lap 30. That is presented by Bell Helmets. So thank you to everybody from Bell Helmets. And of course, with every restart here tonight, we will have the CitraSafe Choose Cone. CitraSafe is a non-toxic, biodegradable grill cleaner that was founded in 1997. And today you can find their products nationwide at stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, and Walmart, as well as many others. Be sure to check them out for all your grill cleaning needs or visit them on the web at citrasafe.com. That's CitraSafe, proud sponsor of the Smart Modified Tour Choose Cone. If it's race season, then it's grilling season. Jostens has done so much for the Smart Modified Tour as well. It's the most trusted partner in celebrating moments that matter, with their mission resting on 3 simple words: capture, celebrate, inspire. This thought process has led the Smart Modified Tour to develop one of the most unique works of art in all of motorsports, the Smarty Trophy. From the same company that develops championship rings and trophies for NASCAR, the NFL, and Major League Baseball, Jostens helped us develop the race and championship winning hardware that truly embodies the characteristics of all modified legends, both north and south. To learn more, visit jostens.com. That's Jostens, provider of the Smart Modified Smarty Trophy and proud sponsor of the Lap Leader Award in 2023. The folks from Carolina Drilling are proud supporters of the Smart Modified Tour as well. They are based in Mocksville, North Carolina. They are the leader in both drilling and blasting in the region and are proud to return as the sponsor of the Carolina Drilling Blast to the Front Award. This award given to the highest finishing non-tour type modified series winner. Special thanks goes out to Jason Tutterow in the 22 and all the fine employees from Carolina Drilling for their continued support of modified racing.
Jason was a great announcer. Kale's a good announcer. Jason's great. Well, good luck, old buddy.
Thank you, bud.
I think I've got crowd. Yeah, I think so. About 1,100, 1,200 here. It always, it never told me to stick by it. Told me to work for them a little bit.
Folks, want to remind you, Short Track Life is a proud supporter of the Smart Modified Tour as well. So Short Track Life is a social media experience with Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and a YouTube channel dedicated a lot to the Smart Modified Tour. Short Track Life brings news, info, commentary, and a behind-the-scenes perspective of the world we love, short track racing. Follow Short Track Life today and see all the free videos of racing from around the Southeast on the YouTube channel, Short Track Life. Almost got all the cars lined up on the front stretch, and as soon as we do, we'll go straight to driver introductions. Want to remind folks about MJ Printing and Graphics as well. Since 1983, MJ Printing and Graphics has provided affordable custom options for all your printing and graphic design needs, whether it be screen printing for clothing or apparel, decals, banners, or vehicle wraps for your car, truck, or motorcycle. MJ Printing and Graphics provides everything you would ever want, and they want to design what you want. Let MJ Printing and Graphics bring your ideas to life. Visit them online, mjcustomprinting.com. That's mjcustomprinting.com. And folks, one more that we want to remind you about before we kickstart this race for 100 laps here tonight. It's never too early to start planning for your future, and it's never too late to assure that you and your family are prepared for whatever life may bring. Thankfully, Bankers Life has agents who are eager to get to know you personally, listen to your concerns and priorities, and fully understand what you and your family needs. To find an agent that is best suited for your needs, visit their website at bankerslife.com. Insurance solutions, retirement planning, financial management, and just about everything else in between. That's Bankers Life, bankerslife.com. As the cars still assemble on the front stretch, let's take a look at the Pace-O-Matic point standings heading into this one. The number 1 of Burt Myers leads the point standings, has been very consistent, but no wins so far this year. Brandon Ward in the number 2 machine, that's the white and orange number 2, 2 points back. He was the winner of the Warrior 100 at Caraway Speedway. Brian Lofton and Joey Coulter tied for third in points, 17 points back. Lofton's in the 15, Coulter in that gray 0-2. Fifth place in points, the Rocket, Tim Brown, in the number 25, 21 points back, tied with Bobby Meismer Jr. in the white, red, and black number 14. Seventh place, the defending series champion in the black 7NY, Caleb Hetty, looking for his first win of the year. Eighth place, Jason Myers out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina, just like his brother Burt, 28 points back in eighth. Jonathan Brown in the black 24, that Buddy Ellis machine, 30 points back in ninth. And rounding out the top 10 in the point standings, Jeremy Gerstner in the 55, 34 points back, tied with Bobby Labonte in the Pace-O-Matic 18. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Hickory 100 presented by Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet. We thank the folks from Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet for providing all the racing action here tonight for a great crowd on hand at Hickory Motor Speedway. On the pole for this one, he is a former Pro Cup South champion, driver of the number 11 for Michael Rich. To his outside, top 6 qualifier here tonight, defending series champion in the potent Tommy Baldwin Racing number 7NY. He's out of Long Island, that car owner, but his driver is out of Kentucky, Caleb Hetty on the outside of the front row. Starting third, the SRI Performance A-Shock Torch Eyewear 02 for the ultra-consistent 2-time winner in the Smart Modified Tour, driver of the 02 from Miami Springs, Florida, Joey Coulter. Scheduled to start fourth here tonight. He was the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award winner by setting fast time in qualifying tonight. Out of Dawsonville, Georgia, driver of the 29, Spencer Davis. Make sure you put your hands together for all these drivers here tonight, especially this kid right here, 15 years old, out of Lexington, North Carolina. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. The son of Brian Lofton. Carson Lofton in 23 will start fifth. And to his outside, Daytona 500 winner, Brickyard 400 winner. He's done it all. Now driving a modified with aggressive hydraulics and Pace-O-Matic along that race car. The driver, the number 39, Ryan Newman, will start 6th. Starting 7th out of Concord, North Carolina, in the Racing Electronics Z-Max, number 14, Bobby Meismer Jr. And to his outside, he's a 3-time winner in Smart Modified Tour competition. Driver, the Buddy Ellis, number 24, for John Boy, Jonathan Brown. And in the 5th row to the inside, he won 2 weeks ago for his 9th career Smart Modified Tour victory. Driver, the 15, for Shady Grady Racing, Brian Lofton. And rounding out the top 10, driver of the 25, Jerry Hunt Supercenter, Hayes Jewelers Machine for the Rocket, Tim Brown. Just outside the top 10 sits very good race car drivers that have a shot tonight. The Flying Floridian, Jeremy Gerstner in the 55 will start 11th here tonight. And to his outside, I'm sure the fans are going to go crazy here. They call him the Ace. 2-time Smart Modified Tour champion, driver, the number 1 from Walnut Cove, North Carolina, Burt Myers. Burt Myers leads the points coming into this one. The guy that sits 2nd in points will start 13th here tonight. Lucky maybe number 13. In the number 2 machine for Coulter Motorsports and New Day Motorsports, it's Brandon Ward. To his outside, also from Walnut Cove, North Carolina, a 38-time winner at Bowman Gray Stadium in the Mighty Modified Wars. Starting 14th will be Jason Myers. Starting 15th, a little bit further back than he had hoped to qualify. In the Sadler Stanley Racing Pace-O-Matic number 18, Virginia, Bobby Labonte. To his outside, what a run 2 weeks ago at South Boston Speedway for this gentleman. The young racer, driver the number 5, starts 16th for Tommy Buzzy. From Roanoke, Virginia, driver of the 07 will start 17th tonight. That's Dennis Holdren. Starting on the outside of that row, in 18th, the number 48, a brand new PSR modified machine for Johnny K. Johnny Kievman. Starting 19th here tonight, making a return to the Southern Modified Wars. He's a winner here in the past at Hickory Motor Speedway in the SMRS division. Driver the 07, we have a lot to talk about him tonight, for John Smith. Starting outside of the 10th row, in the number 18 Jerry Hunt Supercenter modified for Daniel Yates. This guy knows Hickory Motor Speedway like the back of his hand. In the Piggly Wiggly number 2 here tonight, 2015 winner of the Bobby Isaac Memorial at Hickory Motor Speedway for late model stock cars, now at a modified tonight. Here is Jake the Snake Crum. To his outside, starting 22nd. Originally from New England, now residing in North Carolina. Driver of the 77 machine, the SRI Performance car for Gary Putnam. Making only his 2nd start in a tour-type modified, but he was the Carolina Crate Modified Series champion 1 year ago, starting 23rd in the number 12 for Cody Norman. Starting 24th in the number 21. The Carolina Drilling Tutterow Racing Machine for Jimmy Wallace. And speaking of Jason Tutterow, he starts in the 25th spot here tonight in the number 22 machine, that Carolina Drilling Modified. Starting 26th, they call him the real deal. Driver the 07. You'll see him at Bowman Gray Stadium in the Sportsman Modified ranks, but he's trying his hand as a rookie in the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Driver the 07 for Riley Neal. Coming all the way from Long Island, New York. Driver the 8NY black number 8 car for Wes Gilbert. And his outside starting 28th here tonight. Had some power steering issues a little bit earlier in qualifying tonight. He's made starts in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and NASCAR Truck Series. Driver of the 01 for Brian Weber. And starting at the tail end of the field. Hurt his knee this week. Doesn't know how long he's going to go. But they call him the Giant. Driver of the number 75 for Jason Poole. Put your hands together for this 29-car field tonight, folks. Thank you for coming out to Hickory Motor Speedway for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. The Dink Widenhouse number B29 will pilot the field here tonight. Will pace prior to going green. Davida, his daughter, going to be driving that race car here tonight. Dink Widenhouse, so successful in the Southern Modified Wars, especially in racing here at Hickory Motor Speedway in the 1950s. 7 wins in 1954. He followed that up with almost a championship in 1955. 8 wins to his credit that year. Dink Widenhouse, one of the true legends and nice guys of the Southern Modified Machine. Put your hands together. He's in the audience here tonight on the front stretch. Thank you to Dink Widenhouse for coming here tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway and celebrating the heritage of modified racing. JB on the flag stand. Is it time for the command? Let's do it, folks. Everybody help me out on the count of 3, 2, 1. Drivers, start your engines. In 3, 2, 1. Drivers, start your engines. Folks, feel that rumble. That's what I grew up with in the Northeast. The Mighty Modifieds, the Mod Squad, whatever you want to call them, these are mean machines. 600 horsepower missiles with 15-inch tires. This is the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic, and we're going to see them do battle tonight for 100 grueling laps around this .363-mile oval known as Hickory Motor Speedway, the birthplace of NASCAR stars. Thank you to Chris Williams and everybody from the Smart Modified Tour, as well as Kevin Piercy and his staff for hosting the Smart Mods here tonight. Very proud to be here. Thanks to the folks from Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet here as well, providing the support for this event to happen. And you can see the fans are having fun here tonight. I see checkered flags galore on the front stretch, and we start the pace laps for the Mighty Modifieds here at Hickory. There is on the Flow Racing cameras the Dink Widenhouse B29. We mentioned those wins all over the South, even at the old Charlotte Speedway. I was going to say Charlotte Motor Speedway, but the Charlotte Speedway, Concord Speedway back in the day, and so much success here at Hickory Motor Speedway for Dink Widenhouse. And we mentioned that story in 1955. My brother Matthew talking about that during the Pace-O-Matic pit party. And Dink was leading the points going into the final race here with 8 wins to his credit in 55, and decided to go to the Grand National race in Memphis and run that. He said, I race for wins, not championships, and basically handed the championship that year to Ralph Earnhardt, multi-time champion here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Getting some heat in those engines, heat in those tires as well. Folks, we're going to have a wave lap here just momentarily, getting set for that. You're not going to want to miss it. You want to get those phones out, get the checkered flags, get your hands and hats up in the air. We're going to be waving to these drivers just momentarily here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Waiting for the sign by J.B. Cole, the flagman for the Smart Modified Tour, when we're about to go and salute you, the racing fans here at Hickory. Thank you to Pace-O-Matic, Jostens, so many other sponsors here for the Smart Modified Tour. This one is going to be a blast here tonight. David Hoots, race director for the Smart Modified Tour here tonight. You might know that name. Was the race director for the NASCAR Cup Series for so many years. And now working with the Modifieds. a revitalization from modifieds in the South. Right now, if you're on social media, watching on Flow or here in the grandstand, make sure you put on social what you're watching here tonight on Flow Racing. Let them know how special modified racing is, especially here in the South. We're going to go at least one more lap before we wave to these drivers and they wave to you. These things are low, they're sleek, they're bad to the bone. Want to say thank you to our staff at Flow Racing, Matt, Blaze, Danny, everybody, as well as Philip as well. Philip flying the drone here tonight. Folks, Hickory Motor Speedway is the birthplace of NASCAR stars. But tonight, Hickory adopts the mantra of the mighty modifieds. Plus, we honor one of the all-time best in Southern modified racing, Dink Widenhouse. So, folks, get up on your feet and get out of your seat as the Smart Stars salute you, the best racing fans in America. This is our salute to open wheels, to chrome horns, and 600 horsepower. The ground pounders, the mod squad. This is the Smart Modified Tour. And thank you to Pace-O-Matic for making it all happen. And thank you, JB, for getting the crowd riled up here tonight on the flag stand. My brother Matthew Dillner down there as well, shooting some stuff for Flow Racing. He's a big modified guy. We're just moments away from going green here at Hickory. Michael Rich, Caleb Hetty, front row for this one. Bonus points on the line here tonight. Leading a lap, leading the most laps at the end of the Bell Helmet stage number 1. Points awarded in the championship equation for first, second, and third at that time. So much to keep track of, and remember that one tire all the teams have in the pit area. They can take it at any time in the race, but they only have one tire. Jeremy Gerstner was telling us earlier today, driver of the 55 modified, that you might see people take it as late as 15 laps to go and to charge hard. One more lap until we go green here at Hickory. That second row made up of a pair of NASCAR winners. NASCAR Truck Series winner Joey Coulter, to his outside Ryan Newman in the Pace-O-Matic Aggressive Hydraulics number 39. Folks, Hickory is the birthplace of NASCAR stars. But tonight, the stars of the Smart Modified Tour will electrify a packed house here at this racetrack as we go green at Hickory. And look at Caleb Hetty grab the lead by a couple of car lengths over Michael Rich. Battle is for third right now. Best one on the racetrack. Coulter to the inside of Newman. Newman says, I'm going to save my right rear as they go by this speed shot on the front stretch here for Flow Racing. Bobby Meismer Jr. in that white number 14. There is the 25 of the Rocket, Tim Brown. Right in front of him, the 24 of Jonathan Brown. This is a battle for fourth on back. Jonathan Brown charging hard on the outside. Ryan Newman is there, but John Boy looking good early in this race in that Buddy Ellis number 24. He gets the spot. Here comes Tim Brown as well. Tim Brown, 12-time Bowman Gray modified champion on the outside of the kid. 15-year-old Carson Lofton. Poised beyond his years is Carson Lofton. Bobby Meismer Jr. in the 14 behind that. Tim Brown's got a good rocket ship here tonight. Brown in that Andretti machine on the outside, trying to move up into the top 5. Jason Poole in the 75 pulls off the racetrack. Just FYI, the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award winner here tonight was Spencer Davis. In post-qualifying tech, that number 29 car found to have a spoiler infraction. He had to start at the rear of the field. Brian Weber slowing on the racetrack as well in that 0-1 machine. That car has been plagued with power steering issues today. Michael Rich starting to catch leader Caleb Heddy. There is Tim Brown. Bobby Meismer going for it right now. Meismer on the inside of the number 25 car on the racetrack. Caleb Heddy leads Michael Rich. Jonathan Brown and Ryan Newman third and fourth. Carson Lofton in fifth. Now Carson Lofton back to sixth. Joey Coulter in third. Brown in fourth. Newman in fifth. Carson Lofton sixth. Tim Brown right there just lost that spot. So it moved Tim Brown back to eighth and Bobby Meismer Jr. up to seventh. There is Ryan Newman. You talk about a tale of experience in race cars. The veteran Ryan Newman on the outside being shown up by the kid, Carson Lofton in the 23. The number and color that his dad Brian made famous for so many years in Southern Modified Tour competition. Carson Lofton gets the spot, so now Carson Lofton up to fourth. There is the other Lofton, Father Brian Lofton in the Shady Grady Racing number 15, battling with another veteran, Tim Brown. Currently, this is a challenge for the seventh spot. Lofton trying to work to the inside, and of all the racetracks that Brian Lofton has run here in the South, Hickory Motor Speedway is the one that he has the least amount of success on. Seventh place is his best finish here in modified competition, and that's unusual because usually Brian Lofton is fast no matter where he goes. Not even a lap led for Brian Lofton in that 15 in his career here at Hickory. There's the top two right now. Caleb Heddy looking for his first win of the season. He's got 2 Pace-O-Matic Pole Awards, but he said, you know what? Pace-O-Matic Pole Awards, they don't give you the points that he needs to go after this championship and go back-to-back in the Smart Modified Tour. Yes, there are some bonus points included, but he needs race wins because he finds himself 22 points back, the driver of the 7NY in this championship equation. He sits 7th in the standings, and he's at a very fast race car at every event. Finished second at Florence Motor Speedway. Did Caleb Heddy. Had a late race pit stop, got trapped in his pit stall, came out second to Matt Hirschman. And then 2 weeks ago at South Boston Speedway, led a bunch of laps, came back through the field after changing a tire, and then wound up having to go down pit road to avoid a slowing Matt Hirschman. Almost had disaster by hitting the end of the pit wall. There's the gap, though, between first and second. Michael Rich still trying to figure out how to drive a modified, he told me here today, that PSR machine. He says, I love these cars, but the big heavy stock cars that he's used to through late model stock cars and Pro Cup machines, they drive differently than these low, sleek modifieds, especially at a place like Hickory Motor Speedway. We'll march back a little bit further than that. And there is Jonathan Brown in the 24. Jonathan Brown didn't know if he'd be showing up here to Hickory Motor Speedway this week. That team had some engine difficulty at South Boston Speedway. Well, guess what? They showed up and they're looking good early in this one. Jonathan Brown in the 24, locking down that 5th spot right now with 6th belonging to the 39 of Ryan Newman, who, by the way, told me he had never driven a competitive lap at Hickory Motor Speedway until today. Here comes Carson Lofton. Lofton and Joey Coulter going at it for the 3rd spot. Lofton gonna make it look easy. You gotta wonder, is he abusing that right rear tire? Is that car just so good? He's setting sail here today. So Carson Lofton up to 3rd, moving Joey Coulter back to 4th. And right behind that is where the battle is gonna start to ensue. Coulter starting to fade fast. There is Jonathan Brown, Ryan Newman as well. 2 wins on the Smart Modified Tour for the driver of the Gray 02, Joey Coulter. 3 wins on the Smart Modified Tour for Jonathan Brown. And 1 win at North Wilkesboro Speedway 1 year ago for Ryan Newman on the Smart Modified Tour. Still searching for his first win, the car right behind the 39, but solidly in the top 10 here tonight, Bobby Meismer Jr. Meismer announced earlier this year that this would be his final full year of competition of modified racing. Going to concentrate on his son Brody, but he'll still run some, just not a full-time circuit. There's Brown and Newman. You can see where your favorite drivers are racing. Buzzy Racing providing the ticker here tonight on Flow Racing. I want to show the drone and all the racing action that's going on from a high perspective around this racetrack, because right now we do have some gaps in the field. There's Caleb Heddy, the leader. Second place, Michael Rich. But the Citrus Safe Grill Cleaners Short Track Life drone, what a great perspective right here of what the line is around this racetrack. And you can see everybody down the bottom, but later on you're going to see that groove move up just a little bit. Thank you to Philip and his staff for taking care of the Citrus Safe Short Track Life drone here tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway. The guy that's driving through the field right there is in that shot right there. The Citrus Safe Grill Cleaners #1 for Burt Myers. Burt started a little bit further back than he had hoped to here tonight in the 12th spot, but he's already driven up through the field, being scored in the 7th spot early in this one here. And we are already at the end of the Bell Helmets Stage 1. Laps clicking by really quickly here tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway. And Caleb Heddy will be given some bonus points. This is exactly what he needed. Needs to collect all the bonus points he can, being 22 points back in the championship equation. So this is very good for Caleb Heddy. But those bonus points also being awarded to second and third. Michael Rich in that red number 11, not running for the championship, but running a bunch of races with the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. But Joey Coulter right now is in the 4th spot. Carson Lofton, who's running for Rookie of the Year, who's also running for the championship quest here this year as a rookie. He picks up some bonus points on Bell Helmet Stage #1 by finishing in the 3rd spot.
Tires are good for about 30 laps or so, 40 maybe, and about 25 laps.
So let's go through what we see on the racetrack right now. Caleb Heddy in the 7NY is your leader. Second place, that red 11 of Michael Rich, former Pro Cup stud. Third place, the 23 of Carson Lofton. Fourth place, former NASCAR Truck Series winner Joey Coulter in the gray 02. Fifth place, Jonathan Brown, 3-time winner in the series, currently running in the 5th spot in that Buddy Ellis number 24. Sixth place is Ryan Newman. Newman loves his modified racing here on the Smart Tour. Behind him in 7th, that Z-Max car, the number 14 of Bobby Meismer Jr. And the hard charger so far, that Citrus Safe machine for Burt Myers out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina. Rounding out the top 10 in the running order. Also a very good run for Tommy Buzzy. Had that 2nd place run at South Boston Speedway a couple weeks ago. He's already cracked the top 10. And Tim Brown in the Jerry Hunt Super Center, number 25, locking down that 10th and final spot in the top 10. Brown was as high as 5th at one point, has faded a little bit. You've got to wonder if he's saving his tires for a little bit later on the race. By the way, I want to focus on the black 07 with the Dayglow orange numbers. That's what I would call it, unless I'm colorblind. Maybe it's Dayglow red, I'm not sure. But John Smith, nice to have him back with the Smart Modified Tour. And, you know, really cool story for John Smith. Of course, so much success for John at Bowman Gray Stadium. Multi-time winner there, but also in modified racing all over the place. He's won a lot of races. But the interesting story on this race car for John Smith is that the Racing College of Virginia assembled this race car. It was wrecked last year, totaled. Well, they designed a new front clip for it. They worked on it over the winter. John has been up there at the Racing College of Virginia the last 7 Mondays to finalize this race car. So now some of the students are down here at Hickory Motor Speedway today working on the crew with the machine that they got back on the racetrack. How cool of a story is that? So thank you to everybody from the Racing College of Virginia for getting John back to the racetrack. And he's got one of the best nicknames in the business, the Mayberry Bullet from Mount Airy, North Carolina. And of course, a famous TV show based in Mount Airy, North Carolina, the Mayberry Bullet. John Smith could have a shot here tonight. Started a little bit further back, had some issues early on in practice, the car overheating a little bit, but they have battled back. There is the Short Track Life Citrus Safe Grill Cleaners drone tonight. You see the Citrus Safe choose cone right now, where all the drivers get to choose inside or out, and that is a precarious position for all these drivers to figure out where they want to be on these restarts. So the CitraSafe Choose Cone is already done. Drivers have chosen inside or out for this restart. Looks like we'll be going green next time by in the Pace-O-Matic restart zone for the Smart Modified Tour. Caleb Heddy, the leader, the dominator so far. From the drop of the green to his outside, Michael Rich. Carson Lofton, that kid just so strong at 15 years old, knocking on the door for a possible victory here tonight. Joey Coulter, stealth-like in the 4th spot early in this race, just 30 laps complete. Heddy jumps out to a good lead once again, but look at who comes with him. Carson Lofton in the 23. Strong run by Carson Lofton, but as a kid, you got to wonder, is he burning up that right rear, kind of moving his way through the field? Or is he poised beyond his years with experience, knowing that tutelage that his dad, Brian, gave him? Now further back in the field, good side-by-side racing here for 3rd and 4th on back. Jonathan Brown picks up another spot. So John Boy moves by Joey Coulter in that 0-2, and here comes Meismer. Oh, Farmer Ted, very strong in the Racing Electronics number 14 to the inside. Coulter trying to hang on. Coulter, a little bump there. Kind of bottles up the 39 Pace-O-Matic aggressive hydraulics machine of Ryan Newman as well. And there is Burt Myers, the ace, coming through the field, as well as John Smith. We just talked about him. Look at how strong he is in that orange and black 07. John Smith knows modifieds like the back of his hand, says he'll be with us at the next event at Franklin County Speedway in late May. John Smith now in 6th. Burt Myers trying to go by Joey Coulter with him as well. 2 top 5 runs for Joey Coulter so far this year. Finds himself tied for 3rd in the point standings. That's what modified racing is all about. Wheel to wheel, no fenders needed right here. 600 horsepower underneath the hood, and these guys are going at it at Hickory. Oh, Tommy Buzzy. See that little wiggle there? Great shot by our Flow Racing cameras. He's moved through the field into the top 10, but a little wiggle. That could cost them a little bit. I'm still impressed by Burt Myers. Started 12th in this race, marching his way through the field. Right now, Burt Myers battling for 7th. He gets the spot by Joey Coulter. Ryan Newman there as well. Newman says he doesn't think the tire wear is going to be as bad as some people expected, but remember, all these guys still have 1 tire at their disposal on pit road, and we might see guys try to stay out here forever and take it late in the race. Here comes Buzzy. And then Mark III Financial, number 5. 2nd place at South Boston. Good run again here tonight. Buzzy moves by Joey Coulter and picks up another spot up to 9th. Coulter now down to 10th. Burt Myers. He hasn't won a Smart Modified Tour race since 2004. Now remember, from 05, through 12, 15 years, Smart Modifieds went away. Okay, and they just came back in the last 3 years. So it's not as long as a losing streak, if you will, but Burt, kind of sensitive about it at times. He is a tried and true racer. He has one mission, and that's to go to victory lane. But right now, he's under fire by Ryan Newman. And see those white gloves that Ryan Newman has with our Flow Racing shot? You can see him get a little bit loose coming off of the corner on the lower line. That's the tough way around. You usually want to use up all that racetrack. John Smith on the inside says, Burt, if you want to go around me, take the high side, and he does. Burt Myers on a mission, leading the points in the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic by 2 points over Brandon Ward. Brandon Ward currently running in the 11th spot, and Burt Myers is up to 6th. You got to love the aggressive nature of a driver like Burt Myers. Always a fan favorite, riding kind of about a half groove up than most of the other competitors out there. Burt Myers having a good run. 53 to go, approaching the halfway point in this race. Burt Myers has slowed up just a little bit after using that outside groove. John Smith, he is perfect on the bottom. Kind of steady, not slow, but steady. And sometimes that pays off here at Hickory Motor Speedway with the way this tire wear is at this racetrack.
Newman on the outside.
Newman gets by John Smith. So Newman taking advantage. Smith, a little wiggle coming off the corner. Now Buzzy challenging him. Newman to the bottom. Newman and Burt Myers go toe-to-toe here as we approach the halfway point in the Smart Modified Tour race at Hickory. Tommy Buzzy also trying to work to the inside of Burt Myers. Myers fading a little bit after utilizing that outside groove. There is Joey Coulter. Coulter hanging steady as well. By the way, Caleb Heddy, he's hoping for a victory here tonight, but Carson Lofton looking good. Caleb Heddy first, Carson Lofton second here. Third place is still Michael Rich. At fourth place, the 24 of Jonathan Brown. Double box we go. There is Caleb Heddy on the left side of your screen with Michael Rich. Rich has been right there, about 4 or 5 car lengths back the entire time. And on the right side of your screen, Carson Lofton. Michael Rich was up in second a little while ago, but it's Carson Lofton threatening Caleb Heddy for the lead here. On the right side of your screen, there is Burt Myers. Myers still holding steady, falling back just a little bit. Brandon Ward, by the way, right behind him right now. Myers and Ward first and second in points. There's Bobby Labonte in the Sadler Stanley Racing Pace-O-Matic number 18. And Jason Myers, the 38-time winner at Bowman Gray Stadium in modified competition, trying to go to the outside of the former Cup champion. Labonte and Myers battling for 11th, just outside the top 10 here tonight so far. Myers' best finish here at Hickory Motor Speedway, a 9th place run a couple of years ago. Go by the speed shot on the front stretch and back to Jason Myers and Bobby Labonte. Myers, by the way, works for UPS. Had to work the shift this morning at 4 a.m. A bottleneck up there in front of a bunch of people. Wes Gilbert slows on the backstretch. Wow, crazy times here in the middle of the Smart Modified Tour race at Hickory. So Caleb Heddy, the halfway leader, presented by Bankers Life. Just about 8 laps ago. Oh, big time wiggle there by Tommy Buzzy. Tried to stay off of Michael Rich in the 11, hit the brakes and wiggled big time. That opened up the door for Burt Myers to get by. Now here comes Joey Coulter as well. You got to be wondering, is some of these drivers hoping for a caution, praying for a caution right now to take that right rear tire? I don't know if we're going to get the caution early on. I told my brother Matthew I was going to bring him on here at the next caution, but let's bring him on right now to see what he sees from his vantage point up here in the booth. Matthew will be the lead announcer for Flow Racing next week at Bowman Gray Stadium. What do you think of this race so far?
Man, this is a great race throughout the field, and I got to tell you, I've been enjoying listening to you. This is a tire conservation race usually, but these guys are going fast, and you said before, this track is tricky. The inside here, if you've ever driven around Hickory, the bottom through 3 and 4, bumpy as heck, upsets these modified race cars. This is not an easy track to get around.
And look at this battle right now. Jonathan Brown trying to hold off Ryan Newman. Newman loves himself some modifieds, but how about Jonathan Brown not running the stadium this year, just concentrating on the Smart Modified Tour?
Yes, he is in that Buddy Ellis number 24 machine that's seen so much success here in the Smart Modified Tour, winner a few years ago, that team at Franklin County, but right now he's got a mirror full of the Rocket Man. That is the hard charger right now on the track, that yellow and black Pace-O-Matic number 39 for Ryan Newman.
The Amerifast 24 car running about a half groove up on entrance of the corner and then kind of comes down right in front of Ryan Newman. Newman trying to stick his nose in there. Jonathan Brown gives him room. So Newman, sideways coming off the corner. That was a heck of a save by Ryan Newman.
You could see right now when you apply the throttle coming off the turn, these right rear tires right now are hot and sticky and slick, and they're not too happy.
Hey, Matt, before we get a caution here, let's run through the top 10. We'll start with the leaders here. And the Dominator so far leading every single lap so far. He'll be the Jostens lap leader of the race because he's led more than halfway of this 100-lap race. Caleb Hetty having a great run in that 7NY. Second place, the 23 of Carson Lofton. So strong. Behind him, a lap car, that blue 77 of Gary Putnam, a lap down. There's Cody Norman. Want to mention him as well. Cody Norman, a lap down. The Carolina Crate Modified Series champion 1 year ago. There's Daniel Yates right there in the black number 18. Oh, the yellow flag comes out just as we're about to go through the top 10. And it's Jeremy Gerstner. Just talked about him with a similar looking combination to Daniel Yates. Gerstner spun on the backstretch, and Gerstner, a good run for him, led 30 laps at South Boston 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was great to see Jeremy Gerstner up front last week at South Boston. His wife, his spotter, up on top of the roof, and she gives it to him as far as on that radio. She's pretty aggressive, telling him what to do, where to go. But, of course, hate seeing the 55 spun around. But, folks, hold on to your hat because here comes pit stops, okay? We're running controlled pit stops. Bob will explain that here in a second, but this is where I expect most of the teams to come down and especially change that right rear. So a lot of guys charge at the beginning and fade back like Joey Coulter, like Burt Myers. Now they get their chance to put on fresh rubber.
And let's just talk about, as the teams get ready, the Piggly Wiggly machine, Jake Crum, who has so much experience here at Hickory Motor Speedway, making his first start in a modified. And Jake Crum, not the run that he wanted here, but he's had so much success, and he said, man, these cars are fun to drive.
Oh, man, he was telling me before, I've never raced anything like this with these big tires. And it's he actually said the hardest thing was judging your corners, judging where your car is, where your front bumper is, where your right side is with these open wheels. It's something he's not used to. He's used to fenders.
16th right now for Jake Crum, that driver, a big winner of the Valley Star Credit Union 300 years ago at Martinsville Speedway as well, but never in an open wheel car with a modified. And tonight he gets it done. He said, I think I'm hooked. I think I'm going to do another event. If they let me, I'll do another one for sure.
You see that a lot with these race car drivers. And you see it right there with Ryan Newman. We saw that years ago, him getting in Kevin Bono Mannion's car on the Northern Tour. And you see guys like Bobby Labonte getting that taste of a modified. And once you do, these purpose-built race machines are so wild, so fun to run, that they get hooked.
We're going to see these teams come down pit road. Pit road now open. Caleb Hetty leads an assortment of cars down pit road. Only lead lap cars get to pit this time around. And the key thing, as my brother Matthew was talking about, is the controlled caution. That is something different that we're experiencing here tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway. All these drivers get to come down, make their adjustments, change one tire. You might see them change more or think they're changing more, but they might be swapping tires around to get the stagger the way they need. But these drivers will go back out on the racetrack on the order that they entered pit road, and that's the key here. Great perspective by the Citrus Safe Grill Cleaners. Short Track Life drone here tonight. Thank you to Philip Dixon and everybody for making sure that we have these cool views here tonight, and Citrus Safe and Short Track Life for providing all of this aerial coverage.
I'll tell you what, you see the right rears going on almost all of these race cars. That's the tire that gets the most upset here usually at Hickory Motor Speedway. So they'll put that fresh rubber, Bob, on the right-hand side, on the right rear, and then typically they might swap, depending on how the tires measure out, the left side tires to get a better stagger on the car. So that's typically what you're seeing in a modified pit stop here in the Smart Modified Tour. That's your standardized strategy.
If I'm Caleb Hetty right now, I'm saying don't change that car, just change my right rear tire, because that thing has been rocket ship fast so far tonight.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that Tommy Baldwin number 7 has been fast all year long, but, you know, we've had 3 different winners on this tour, and Caleb Hetty has not been one of them, and he's been oh so close. He had the win locked up in the first race of the year, the Low Country 99 at Florence, and just that late caution handed it basically to Matt Hirschman. So this number 7, make no mistake, is one of the top teams here, the defending champion of the Smart Modified Tour.
And let's talk a little bit about Burt Myers, who we still see on pit road. He's not losing any spots. A lot of drivers have moved off because of the controlled caution here tonight that race director David Hoots is managing for the Smart Modified Tour. But Burt Myers man, you could tell he's just itching. He said, man, some guy keeps on reminding me all I'm doing is finishing in the top 3, the podium, and that'd be me. But, we have a good nature about our relationship with the Dillners and the Myers, and he knows he needs to get back to victory lane.
Well, he's a colorful personality, but he is a true racer that does not like to be reminded that he has a losing streak. But, hey, facts are facts. He's a champion 2 years ago in this series. He's a runner up front every single week here in the Smart Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Burt Myers is one of the best race car drivers in the South, period, okay? Let's just put it that way. And he's a fan favorite. If you polled the people down in this great crowd here at Hickory Motor Speedway, you either love him or hate him. You see that 07 right there of Dennis Holdren, the Mark Dowdy-owned machine, Daniel Yates, the number 15 who won the last time we were on the track, Brian Lofton, in that shady Grady number 15 servicing that machine.
Brian Lofton hoping for another good finish here tonight, but he has struggled. Third in points coming into this one. There's Jake Crum in that Piggly Wiggly number 2. We just talked about him a little bit. And by the way, that black number 18 for Daniel Yates as well. Yates is a good guy and had a great run, top 10 finish at Caraway. Struggled a little bit 2 weeks ago at South Boston and struggling a little bit again here tonight.
Struggling a little bit, but I've been impressed with the speed out of Yates. He's not a guy that you typically see running in the top 5, running in the top 10, and that number 18, when it's been unloaded, seems to have speed, so it's great to see a guy like that back on this tour. Daniel Yates, of course, is in the paving business, the grading business. One time I was pulling into my neighborhood in Concord, North Carolina, and I get out of my car because the whole neighborhood's getting paved to go to my house and get something, and I hear, Dillner, I'm like, I look over, and there's Daniel Yates on the grader paving my street. So a hard-working guy and one heck of a racer.
3 cautions so far in this one. One of them for the first, the Bell Helmet stage number 1, and then 2 other cautions. So not a lot of cautions in this one, and I don't want to jinx us because usually, like Larry McReynolds always says, cautions breed cautions. Who knows what's going to happen in the final laps of this race. Still a lot to go here, but I want to get your perspective real quick on Carson Lofton in the 23. His dad, Brian Lofton, synonymous with modified racing for so long, especially since we moved down here. I believe I moved down to the Carolinas in 1997. And Carson, just a good kid, driving hard, but he's got a lot of maturity behind the wheel.
He sure does. In such a short time, too. He only raced a handful of crate modified races last year, but you see the poise behind the wheel, and you saw it tonight, not charging that car too hard. What I liken it to, your northern modified fans that may be watching this, I liken it to Mud Lane. You've got Matt Hirschman, right? But then you have down Mud Lane, the same street, you have Austin Beers. So Austin Beers, though, is what my comparison, because Austin Beers has run second to Matt Hirschman, and his first few year or two in a modified was very, very steady, not getting in the way, learning, gaining respect from these veteran race car drivers, and that's what we're all seeing right now with Carson Lofton. He's a very steady driver, but he's racing to get respect early in his career.
So the top 2, Caleb Hetty, Carson Lofton. Right behind that, Ryan Newman sits in the 3rd spot right now. We'll take you through the top 10 because we always try to do it during green flag racing action, but there's too many battles to take a look at here. 4th place right now, Jonathan Brown. We've talked about him a bunch, but how about John Smith there in that 07 machine, another Dowdy prepared race car, and a great story with the Racing College of Virginia.
The Mayberry Bullet. I actually put my son in his car today. He's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. But Mark Dowdy, what dedication to this Smart Modified Tour, having 2 cars here today and having a fan favorite like the Mayberry Bullet.
6th place is Bobby Meismer Jr. in the 14. 7th, Burt Myers. 8th now, Joey Coulter has been up and down in that top 10 throughout this race so far.
It's going to be lights out, I think, for that 02 car because he's got fresh rubber on that car, and he's going to feel a lot better.
The Citrus Safe choose cone right now with drivers choosing inside or out. And it looks like everybody kind of filed in as they were running. Coulter actually choosing the inside groove. That allows Tommy Buzzy to go on the outside of row number 4 on the outside of Burt Myers. And Burt Myers leading the points, 2 points behind Brandon Ward. Ward right there at the tail end of the top 10.
I'd expect that number 2 machine to make its way to the front late in the stages of this race. That's typically the way he does it. That's his style of racing in a modified. And Brandon Ward already having a great season, already a winner in 2023.
I want to mention the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award winner here today as well, Spencer Davis out of Dawsonville, Georgia. There he is, trying to crack into the top 10. A spoiler infraction on that machine. He didn't get to start where he was scheduled to after the redraw. Had to start at the rear of the field, but trying to work his way back through. Spencer Davis is so good in modified racing. 3 smart starts, and all those 3 races he has led some laps. Going back green this time by, coming to the Pace-O-Matic restart zone. You see some pink lines up there in turn number 4. That's where the leader, Caleb Heddy, has to fire.
Big companies run on Monday.com. It's how we align our marketing team to turn the orca species we operate into a lovable household name.
So as my department closes family-friendly movie deals,
Mallorca from Mallorca, coming soon.
My team is busy making orcas more approachable.
Friendship tastes better than dolphins.
While we orchestrate our PR efforts.
And it all aligns perfectly on Monday.
Alignment for whatever you run. Start your free trial at Monday.com.
Heddy, so good. Carson Lofton, strong, settles into second. Ryan Newman in third. 4th place, here comes John Smith on the inside of Jonathan Brown.
Oh boy, this is where you're going to make up your time, make up your positions. It's go time here past halfway in the Smart Modified Tour race.
Fresh right rear on all of these machines, and they're making it work. Look at Bobby Meismer Jr. on the outside. He is a hard charger. The 3rd all-time winningest driver at Concord Speedway, and Burt Myers lurking. Brandon Ward in the mix as well.
Oh, the 07 had to get out of the throttle there in 1 and 2. Look at the hard charger, Farmer Ted on the outside, laying down the throttle. That number 14 side by side down the front stretch.
Meismer, great run for him in the Warrior 100 at Caraway Speedway a few weeks back, a 3rd place run. He's still looking for his first win in the Smart Modified Tour. Can he get it done here tonight? Oh, Spencer Davis up the track, Joey Coulter spinning. Jay Crum makes contact. Jason Myers involved as well right in front of our tower. Oh my, a big melee. And it was all caused by Joey Coulter. Don't know if he had contact with another racer, but he spins off a 4, and a bunch of drivers are collected.
And you see that Piggly Wiggly machine, his first ever Smart Modified Tour race here at the Hickory 100. It's the number 2 of Jake Crum and Jason Myers into the wall as well. About 4 or 5 cars involved in that melee, bringing out the 3rd caution of tonight's race.
Jason Myers, bad break for him. I was hoping for a top 10 run before he starts his stadium season next Saturday night. You'll be able to watch that on Flow Racing as well. And there's the damage to the Piggly Wiggly machine for Jake Crum. Crum, former URA Stars late model stock car champion, now with major damage to the left front of that race car.
You see all the cars stopping now on the backstretch. You see that tie rod snapped on that left front of the Jake Crum car. Also want to mention, I was down on the pit party today. What a pit party. What a Pace-O-Matic pit party. The crowd down there was unreal. Saw even a lot of our sponsors, Bankers Life was down there. Some folks from Bell Helmets were here, and impressed with this crowd here at Hickory. If you're watching on the drone shot, you might see a few rows empty down low. If you don't know Hickory, nobody sits down low at Hickory. The crowd that we have here, I've been coming to Hickory for a long time. This is a absolutely strong crowd at this racetrack.
Yeah, and other than the Night of Destruction or maybe the Cars Tour, this is a darn good crowd. This is the best crowd I think we've seen for the Smart Modified Tour at Hickory in a long time as well. And remember, big race next week. I know you have Bowman Gray Stadium with the Modifieds over there, but the Cars Tour coming into town next week at Hickory Motor Speedway with late model stock cars and pro late models. We invite you out to one of those 2 racetracks. If you're in the Carolinas, it's going to be a lot of fun, and both of those will be on Flow Racing.
That's right, Flow Racing, man. If you're watching live on Flow, I mean, maybe 2 years ago you might think Flow's a dirt site. Okay, Flow's a dirt network, but we get Stafford Motor Speedway, we have Oswego, we have the Cars Tour, the premier late model stock tour in America. We've got the Smart Modified Tour. You have NASCAR Roots, the NASCAR Wheel-In Modified Tour. We're just very happy to be covering asphalt racing here on Flow, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. And I got to say, Bob, it's the other week we had the High Limits Tour. and you had the Welches, father and son, up in the booth. And I got to say, I'm proud to say this is the first time I've shared the booth with you, and I'm honored. So I've looked up to you my whole life, and obviously you brought me into the sport when I was 15, working at Long Island Trackside, our local show. And my mom is here, our mom is here, my son is here, your son's here, Blaze is on camera with Flo. And this is a family affair. We're modified people, and I'm really proud to be alongside of you, brother.
Need to have you for a full race at some point. Come up here. But it's awesome working with you, and we both have the passion. We both have the love for modifieds. And we love the fact that all the fans that came out here tonight seem to be having a great time. On pit road right now, not having a good time is Jason Myers, kind of an innocent victim of that spin by Joey Coulter. Coulter is also on pit road, and they're working on the left front suspension of that car.
You see right there, the crew is asking him to straighten out the wheel right there, so I'm assuming that they probably knocked the toe out on the right front of that number 4 machine. So Gary Myers owns that car, legendary smart racer, and of course the family. The Myers family, Billy Myers, Bobby Myers, the generations. You've heard of Chocolate Myers, who of course famously was a pit crew member on Dale Earnhardt's car. And now you've got Jason and Bert, and now Slate Myers, who you'll see run after this in the crate division. So all these generations of Myers, it's a North Carolina tradition, and what a great time to have the Myers family here at the Hickory 100.
Jason and Bert's dad, Gary Myers, as you mentioned, a 15-time winner on the Smart Modified Tour. Michael Rich coming down pit road as well. So that's a little bit of a different scenario than we thought was going to happen. Michael Rich had been falling back just a little bit, so maybe wanting to make some chassis adjustments to that car to get it a little bit better. See a lot of wounded race cars right now, and one of them on your screen of Jason Myers. Myers, as I mentioned, I started to mention, he said, man, I was working at 4 a.m. this morning, my job for UPS. Got off and drove to the racetrack. So Jason Myers, I call him the working man.
Yep.
Because he truly is a hard-nosed racer, family guy, and modified aficionado.
I'll tell you what, I always tease him because he's walking around the pit area, always in his flip-flops if he's not in the race car.
With a cigarette.
Or he's asleep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I tease him about it all the time. But there's a reason, because the guy works his tail off. Look right there, you see the Piggly Wiggly number 2 car towed into the infield. His night is done for Jake Crum. Sad sight to see, but it'll be great, hopefully, to see Jake Crum on the Smart Tour for the rest of the season.
Here's what I want to do. We've hit almost every person, and every person, every driver, every team, every sponsor deserves coverage. Whether you're here in the grandstands or on Flow Racing and watching, I want to talk about a couple other cars. A yellow car, the 48, there's a Citrus Safe Choose Cone, but the 48 of Johnny K, Johnny Kievman, is out there as well. And Johnny Kievman debuted a brand new race car at South Boston a couple of weeks ago. Had an unfortunate incident, got collected in a multi-car pileup in between 3 and 4. But that 48 yellow machine of Johnny Kievman, not contending here tonight, but he said my ego was wounded a little bit at South Boston.
You got to love seeing that car. It's a beautiful machine. I kind of like the paint scheme, Bob, on the back there in the sail panel with the blue. If you look at it from afar, it almost looks like an old school modified. But Johnny K, one of the likable guys here. There's so many likable guys. Modified people are awesome, but Johnny K is just such a class act.
Listen, that car, you mentioned a familiar paint scheme. Reminds me when I was a young kid at Stafford Motor Speedway watching Leo Cleary.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, little John Anderson maybe too, you know, with the blue and the yellow. Okay, all you Stafford dorks that are watching love that.
We love you. Good luck at the Spring Sizzler coming up at the end of the month.
On Flow.
Just a couple of weeks from now, 51st running of the Spring Sizzler. Wish I could go. Good luck to Showtime. Jimmy Blewett as well. All right, here we go. Coming back to green, 27 circuits to go in the Hickory 100, presented by Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet for the Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic. Can Lofton do anything with Caleb Heddy? This is the best run he's had, going toe-to-toe with Caleb Heddy. It's Kentucky and North Carolina going at it for the lead here in the Hickory 100.
Lofton applying the pedal to the outside, hanging pretty good. Now he tucks behind the number 7, single file, top 3. Burt Myers in the outside, side by side with Ryan Newman.
Here comes the ace, Burt Myers. Hanging tough on the outside, trying to get to third. This is the battle right now for that spot. Jonathan Brown has it in the Amerifast number 24. Burt Myers in the Citrus Safe number 1 wants it. Burt Myers knows he's only got a certain amount of time with that rubber, and he's pouring on the heat right now.
Oh, those are two rivals side by side. John Boy on the bottom, Burt on the outside. Now Brandon Ward creeping into the picture in that number 2, moving up a spot using the outside groove.
Brandon Ward, oh, contact between Burt Myers and Jonathan Brown. Woo, hard-nosed racing. And Burt Myers gets the spot, move him up to 3rd. He could be a threat for the victory tonight.
Filing in behind him and now side by side behind that. Man, there are so many battles on this racetrack. Tough to keep track of. Here is the 07 on the bottom, taking the spot from Bobby Meismer. Is the 07, the Mayberry Bullet of John Smith.
Awesome. Spencer from Dawsonville trying to work his way through the field. Wiggling that wheel, really wrestling with it coming off the corner, and that's because of those bumps that you talked about on the bottom turn number 4. But Spencer Davis is on the move to the inside of Meismer.
Look at the wheels of that car as it dances across those bumps on the bottom, applying the throttle off of turn number 4. Give him the spot over Meismer. Now here comes Bobby Labonte, the Trinity, North Carolina driver. Noses his number 18 to the bottom of Meismer.
8th now for Spencer Davis. 9th now for Bobby Labonte. I call him Corpus Christi, Texas. That's where he's from. The Texan looking good in the late stages of this race for Sadler Stanley Racing.
Oh, that car is awesome. Bobby Meismer looks like he's fading back. Got caught on that outside groove, which is a tough way to make your living here at Hickory. Of course, a lot of marbles up there, rubber chunks. It's tough. But speaking of that right now, here comes the number 39, the Rocket. The Rocket Man on the bottom. Ryan Newman trying to get a spot from the number 2 of Brandon Ward.
Ryan Newman, hard way around on that inside. Got to be really steady with the loud pedal. Can't stand on it. Has to have an egg underneath that pedal. And right now, he's showing what a good race car driver he is. Had to check up there to avoid getting into Brandon Ward.
Oh, that is a tough way around with those bumps. You just have to be so gentle on the throttle coming off of 4. The great flow camera here. You'll see his hands in the wheel right here. Look at that. Loose sideways off of turn number 4. Ryan Newman.
15 laps to go. Down to the nitty-gritty here in the Hickory 100, presented by Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet. Caleb Hetty leads. Carson Lofton is 2nd. Burt Myers in 3rd. Jonathan Brown in 4th. And now Brandon Ward in 5th.
Brandon Ward shows up late in these races. That's his style. That great modified racer, former Pro Cup racer, has a mirror full. The 39 on his bumper. Applied a little bumper tag to Ward.
You got to wonder maybe if there was a little bumper tag prior to that with Brandon Ward taking that spot, but 2 hard-nosed race car drivers right there. And Brandon Ward trying to win his 2nd here at Hickory in smart competition and his 2nd of the year.
And now looking back to the inside groove is Ryan Newman, the number 2, washing up there, giving him the lane coming down the backstretch. This is a great battle, but look who's behind him. John Smith, the Mayberry Bullet, sticking the 07 in there.
I know Caleb Hetty doesn't want this, but as a race fan, everybody in the grandstands probably wondering, is there going to be a caution in the final 10 laps in this race? Caleb Hetty coming off of turn number 4 now. 10 laps to go in the Hickory 100.
Great battles throughout this field. You're looking at the one right here with Ryan Newman to the bottom, trying so hard to get to the bottom of that number 2 of Brandon Ward. Now they're side by side down the backstretch. Ward on the outside. Newman on the inside of that Pace-O-Matic yellow number 39. John Smith, what lane does he choose?
An open house tomorrow at the New Day Motorsports shop. Hoping for a victory to make it a victory celebration as well. Not going to be able to get it done. I don't believe tonight unless we have a caution with 8 laps to go. In front of that, though, a good battle brewing for 3rd as well. We need a double box here, Matt. We need to work on that. Caleb Hetty out in front of the field by about 6 car lengths over Carson Lofton. But now Jonathan Brown starting to catch Burt Myers again for 3rd. This time by for Caleb Hetty. It'll be 6 to go, but Burt Myers and Jonathan Brown, there they are, and the rivalry continues.
I swear there's so much action here at Hickory Motor Speedway, the Hickory 100. I think we need a quadruple box, but look at John Boy now applying the power, and I'll tell you what, he's reeled in the number 1 of Burt Myers.
Yeah, I think Burt Myers probably just holding on at this point. Jonathan Brown seems like he's got still a little bit left, as does John Smith. John Smith trying to go to the inside of Ryan Newman to that Pace-O-Matic number 39 with 5 to go.
Here comes John Smith, the Mayberry Bullet, the Rocket Man, into turn number 3. Give the spot to John Smith. A great charge in that Dowdy 07.
5th for John Smith. Incredible. That front clip designed by college students. Great to see John Smith, the Mayberry Bullet, back here with a Smart Modified Tour. Now, Caleb Eddy trying to hold on. And listen, he's had bad luck this year. And Carson Lofton is catching him. Carson Lofton, the 23, is there. And you can see Hetty a little bit loose off the corner.
So is that 23. It's go time here at the Hickory 100. None of these drivers are saving anything in their race cars now. With coming to 1 to go, right now, nobody's saving anything. Lap traffic, will it play a factor? Oh, a spin in turn number 1.
Oh, boy. Jeremy Gerstner, I believe, up into the wall in turn number 1. That will bring out the caution. And guess what? We're going to see our first attempt at a green-white checker finish.
Oh, boy, that's not what the number 17 wanted to see, Bob. And I'll tell you what, I think the 23 might be licking his chops, Carson Lofton here.
Hey, and a left rear tire down on Jeremy Gerstner's machine. I bet you that's what caused the spin up there. Gerstner, the Flying Floridian, just a good race car driver. He actually is a one-time winner in the SMRS series back in the day here at Hickory.
Well, Bob, I'm going to go do my regular job, and I'm going to leave you alone here in the booth to call the finish of the Hickory 100.
Hey, folks, make sure you tell us on social media how much you love the Smart Mods, too. Show us pictures of where you're watching and who you're watching with.
We love that. We love everybody watching on Flow. And also thank you again for Hickory. Thanks for the Smart Modified Tour for honoring Dink Widenhouse today. A pioneer racer from the Daytona, racing at Daytona Beach. You know, how many times do you get to hang out with a guy that raced against Red Byron, buddy? It's crazy.
Yeah, good to see Dink in the house here tonight. Thank you so much to him and his daughter, Davida, here driving the car, the B29, during pace laps tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway. There is the Citrus Safe Grill Cleaners Short Track Life drone. I want to invite everybody to check out the Short Track Life YouTube channel. Free videos of the Smart Modified Tour, the Cars Tour, late model stock cars, super late models, you name it. So much in terms of racing videos free to consume on Short Track Life. Follow them. It's a social media experience on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as well. So here's how they sit right now with a couple of laps to go in this one. It's Caleb Hetty in the 7NY trying to get his first of the year. Carson Lofton trying to get the first of his career in that red 23, sits second. Third place is that number 1, the Potent Machine, the PSR car for Burt Myers. Fourth, the 24 of Jonathan Brown and the Buddy Ellis machine. Fifth, John Smith, the Mayberry Bullet in the 07, first start of the year for him. Sixth, well, he's got a pair of Pace-O-Matic cars now, 6th and 7th, Ryan Newman and Bobby Labonte. Behind that is Brandon Ward in the number 2 machine, Spencer Davis in the number 29. That's your top 9 as they sit on the racetrack. And now the Citrus Safe drone shot, going to show us the Citrus Safe choose cone here for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Thank you to Citrus Safe and Short Track Life for bringing us this drone coverage. Unique perspective here. First time for Flow Racing with the Smart Modifieds. 2 to go until we go back green. Should be a green-white checker finish. And remember, unlimited attempts here in the Smart Modified Tour. I'm just so impressed by the race here tonight. Folks, if you like what you saw here tonight on Flow Racing, or if you're in the grandstands, make sure you tweet, you Facebook, you Instagram, mention Smart Mods, mention Flow Racing. Tell them how much you want to see more modified racing on Flow Racing. I know Matt Smith, our producer here, who's from Iowa, in the middle of dirt country, is now a true modified guy. Loves himself some mighty modifieds. And I think when we get to Franklin County Speedway near the end of May, he won't have his ski cap on anymore. Gonna be a little bit too hot there up in Virginia. Here we go. Coming to the green. Green, white checker finish for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. It's Caleb Heddy and Carson Lofton on the front row, firing in the Pace-O-Matic restart zone. Heddy, great jump into the lead, a little love tap by Carson Lofton. And here comes Jonathan Brown. Jonathan Brown moving by Burt Myers for third. Another love tap by Carson Lofton. Going for it here, Ryan Newman breaking back into the top 5. 1 lap to go. 1 to go. Can Caleb Heddy hold on? Can Carson Lofton do anything? Jonathan Brown inching ahead into third. By the grace of God at 600 horsepower, Caleb Heddy is now a winner again in 2023 for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Woo! What a run in this one. What a finish we saw here tonight. It is Caleb Heddy over Carson Lofton and Burt Myers. Jonathan Brown in 4th and Ryan Newman in that 5th spot. Great run by the 07 of John Smith in 6th. Bobby Labonte rebounds nicely in that Pace-O-Matic machine for 7th. 8th place is Brandon Ward. Gary Putnam, good run for him in 9th, and Spencer Davis in 10th. Caleb Heddy going to pick up another Bankers Life Smarty trophy manufactured by Jostens. On your way out of here, make sure you get your Bobby Labonte shirt. It's a good 7th place run for him tonight in that Pace-O-Matic machine. Going down to Pace-O-Matic Victory Lane here at Hickory Motor Speedway, the birthplace of NASCAR stars. And tonight, the stars of the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic shine brightly here at this .363 mile oval.
I was worried when Burt was behind him that he might not. We back at him. Thank you, Mom. We're doing our jobs. You did a good job. Get on down there, boss.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Caleb Heddy with Tommy Baldwin Racing pulling into victory lane to celebrate after some misfortune in race 2 and race 3 this year. He rebounds, does exactly what he needed to do to get the victory here tonight and put himself back on the map in terms of the championship equation for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. This is going to be a celebration tonight here for Tommy Baldwin Racing. Mohawk Northeast on the side of that race car, the PSR chassis machine, a winner again here in Smart Modified Tour competition. But also a great night for Carson Lofton as well. So impressive. The 15-year-old, the son of Brian Lofton as well. The Dink Widenhouse, number B29, also pulling into victory lane to celebrate with Caleb Heddy tonight here at Hickory.
Watch yourself. We'll be with you here. Keep on going, bud. Go.
Here comes Brian Lofton to congratulate his son Carson on a 2nd place run here tonight. Father and son celebrating the future of modified racing in the South. After a bunch of misfortune, Caleb Heddy, the kid out of Kentucky, back in victory lane in the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Caleb, this is just what the doctor ordered. 2 unfortunate runs in race 2 and race 3. This puts you back on the map.
Yeah, man, I count race 1 as an unfortunate run for us as well. You know, it sucked to have 2 poles like we did before this race and, you know, not have anything really to show for it. But, you know, we got 100 laps led and a victory coming home with us in Kentucky, so we got something now.
I think you look in the dictionary and the definition of dominant has your picture on it because you led every lap here tonight. How good was this race car and how worried were you about that kid in the 23?
Man, I got to give it to Carson, dude. He killed it. He had me on my toes all night. I kept on looking up and I expected to see, you know, either Bird or, you know, anybody behind me, and I kept on seeing this red car. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's still there with us. You know, huge props to them. They killed it tonight. But Tommy Baldwin Racing gave me a bad fast car. Hung on to it for about 50 laps, but you know, there at the end, it was perfect.
What does this win mean to you here tonight at a place like Hickory Motor Speedway that has so much history in the lore of Southern racing?
Yeah, man, this place is this is one of the places you want to win if you're racing around here. So to be able to check this one off my box is freaking awesome. You know, this place, just looking at it, shows how much history and just, you know, makes you think of everybody before me that raced here. So yeah, it's pretty cool to get one here.
And you get to celebrate with the Dink Widenhouse B29 in Victory Lane.
Yeah, man, that thing's pretty cool. I heard something about letting the winner race it, so we'll see where that goes. I want to drive it.
We might have to ask Davida on that one, Dink's daughter, but nice to have the B29. Congratulations to Tommy Baldwin Racing here at Hickory Motor Speedway. And we're also present the Banker's Life Smarty Trophy, which is manufactured by Jostens. A congratulations hug by Tommy Baldwin. And there is that trophy like no other in motorsports. Thank you to Banker's Life and Jostens for providing the Smarty Trophy here in Smart Modified Tour competition. A congratulatory shake and sort of hug by Chris Williams in Victory Lane here as well. Impressive run by Caleb Hetty. Impressive run for Carson Lofton as well. There is Hetty. There is Lofton. The future of modified racing in the South alive and well by those two drivers. Carson Lofton, second place run. Man, you gave it a go there in that green-white checker finish. Did you think you had a shot?
I definitely think we had a shot, but I didn't want to win it that way. Tommy and his guys, you know, Caleb, he's a will man. Tommy always brings good cars to the racetrack. You know, when you go to the racetrack, you got to be the 7 and Y. I can't say enough about these guys, man. They gave me a rocket ship tonight. They've been busting tail. We've had some tough luck so far, but, you know, hopefully we can build some momentum here and get a few wins here soon.
Let's talk about you, though, because you were a little bit disappointed in the first 3 races of the year. Showed a lot of prowess, but tonight you capitalized on it and have a great finish. Does this give you some momentum for the rest of the year?
I sure hope so, man. The first 3 races, we definitely had some tough luck, but like I say, these guys brought a rocket ship tonight, and we're going to build off of it. We're going to be stronger next week.
I want to get your dad, Brian, in here as well. Let's get Brian over here. Brian, come on over here. I know that you got to be mighty proud, knowing you for a long time. What do you think about this kid here tonight?
He's amazing. I mean, it amazes me. I know how hard these things are to drive. The field that he's running against here, this is probably the hardest racetrack there is to drive, and to do that, I mean, I'm just proud as I could be. He's more than anything I've ever done. That's about as impressive to me as anything I've ever done.
I want to know real quick, what did he say to you when you walked over to the car?
He just told me congratulations, but I do want to say one thing. Phil Stefanelli, you know, 1, 2, 3 here tonight. He builds phenomenal race cars, and can't say enough, can't thank him enough for all he does for me, and see y'all at Franklin County.
Absolutely, end of May. Carson Lofton with a second place run, his career best here in limited appearances in the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. This guy is a busy guy. Burt Myers, let's face the crowd here. Burt Myers just finished 3rd in this race here at Hickory, and now he's got a spot for his son, or at least coach him a little bit. What about this run? Another podium, bud.
Another podium. I was just reminded that the 2 in front of me, combined age, is still younger than me. But I tell you, like Doc Holliday, I'm in my prime. We're that far off again. You know, we sit here and we say, you know, hindsight's 20/20. We needed this adjustment or that adjustment. We were good. The tires are not bad. The chassis was just too free. But, you know, the competition right now is really stout. You got to be on your A game, and we're about a B+ right now. So we just got to work a little harder, get our car just a little bit better. And I told you, we keep getting these podiums, and we're eventually going to get up there and get our picture made.
You regain the point lead coming out of here, but I want to know your perspective. We had a great crowd on here tonight, 29 cars. Is this the most impressive you've seen out of Southern Modified Racing in a long time?
They've all been that way, hadn't they, in the last year and a half. Anybody that speculates that Southern Modifieds have died, come see it. You know, these cars put on a heck of a show. I know it was a good show from my seat. The racing is tremendous from the front to the back. The comers and the goers and the pit stops and the strategies and everything. The crowd, I mean, this is Southern Modified Racing, especially at somewhere like Hickory Motor Speedway. But, gosh, man, another podium. But like I said, these guys don't quit. We don't quit. It's good to have Tommy with Citrus Safe here tonight. Man, we're there. We're there. We just got to capitalize.
Time to get the burgers and dogs out tomorrow, but first clean the grill with some Citrus Safe grill cleaner. But Burt Myers, good run for him. Another podium here tonight. It's third place finish of the season for Burt Myers. What a great run for him. Folks, you see in Victory Lane right now, Dink Widenhouse celebrating the heritage of Southern Modified Racing. Dink meant so much to the culture of motorsports here in the South. We mentioned his prowess for so long here at Hickory Motor Speedway, the season in 54, the 7 wins, and then the season in 55, those 8 wins. Didn't get the championship because he opted out of the last race. Went to Memphis to run a Grand National race and said, I don't run for championships, I run for wins. And tonight, he's in Victory Lane posing with the winner of the Hickory 100, Caleb Heddy. Folks, put your hands together for all these drivers here tonight. Thank you to you on behalf of everybody with the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic for coming out. I have a feeling we'll be back again here next year, and this was a great show here tonight with a great field of mods, a great crowd, and a great, beautiful night for racing at one of the most historic tracks in all of America, Hickory Motor Speedway.
And for those of you watching on Flow Racing, 602 mods coming up next here at Hickory Motor Speedway. So one last division left to run here at America's most famous short track. We're going to go to a quick commercial break right here on Flow Racing, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more racing action. And Hickory Motor Speedway will get ready to draw for 50-50 here at the Speedway Women's Club. As we make our way down front. How much is our pot tonight, ladies? $500 going to the winner tonight. 5 large. If you have ticket number 773-8352, again, 773-8352, $500 awaits you at the Speedway Women's Club. I hear a yell down there. Sounds like somebody's got it. Again, thank you to the Speedway Women's Club for the 50-50 drawing tonight. Also, race fans, remember next Saturday night, it's the Cars Tour here at Hickory Motor Speedway. So make sure and join us again. For all the racing action, you can catch it on Flow Racing as well. Absolutely great crowd, great racing here tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway on Dale Earnhardt Night at the Races. Finishing up a few after-race activities here on Heritage Finance Pace-O-Matic Victory Lane. Again, 602 crate modifieds coming at you here in just a few minutes. And if you're wondering, well, what is a 602 crate modified? It's, well, kind of the same thing you just got done seeing, whereas the Smart modifieds make roughly around 650 horsepower. The crate mods are just a little bit less, right in the 375 to 400 range, running 602 GM Performance Parts crate engines. Available at your local Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet, no less.
He did the first race. I need to run to the restroom real quick.
Yeah,
So
you're good.
so
this one's 50 laps, so I'll get him started, and then you can finish.
I'll let you know when I'm up there.
Okay.
Concession stand still open. Have a few things left. All your refreshing Coca-Cola products.
Place finish it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Still on sale here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Also, Speedway Women's Club. If it's your first time here at Hickory Motor Speedway, stop by. We are done with the 50/50 tickets, but we still have all your favorite Hickory Motor Speedway swag. T-shirts, tumblers, hats. The history of Hickory Motor Speedway book or novel, if you will. Past champion shirts. And take home one of your very own checkered flags, courtesy of the Speedway Women's Club here at Hickory Motor Speedway.